Hello my dear friends and welcome to my channel. Don't forget to make yourself a cup of nice and hot tea because today we have very interesting stories and one of them is a story about an entitled mother who calls the police on OP for taking medication. Please subscribe if you haven't and I hope you'll enjoy it. One of my first posts on here was about a Karen demanding I get out of my power wheelchair to let her son have a go and then freaking out when I said no. I'd only had one other encounter with her since that happened, which I hoped would have been my last. Unfortunately that was not the case. Megatron Karen strikes again. I'm a C4-5 incomplete quadriplegic and although I have use of my upper body, I still rely on my power wheelchair to get me around town. I recently received a new power wheelchair and I'm still getting used to using it. And although it looks slightly different than my old one, it's still a Karen magnet. This happened a few days ago when I was downtown doing some shopping. As I was leaving the mall, I saw Karen and her son, 12-year-old, walking in. I wanted to turn and go the other way, but she'd already seen me. In hindsight, I should have stayed in the mall and waited for her to lose sight of me, but in that moment I just wanted to get as far away from her as possible. So I exited the mall, hoping that Karen wouldn't follow me, but you know I wouldn't be telling this story if that were the end of it. There's a discount clothing shop just outside of the mall which I'd planned to go to, so that's where I went. I was in there for a few minutes when I got the feeling that someone was watching me, so I turned to see Karen and her son near the entrance and Karen glaring at me. When I looked at her, she immediately looked away, pretending that she was shopping. I headed to the plus-size section, hoping that she'd lose sight of her, but in retrospect, that was a bad idea. I call her Megatron Karen for a reason. When I got to the plus-size section one naively thought I was safe, but oh no, dear readers. It had only just begun. I started looking through the selection on the racks, when not long after, I got that same feeling that I was being watched. I looked around and saw Karen at the end of the aisle, looking at me, but when she saw me see her, she looked away. Then came a strange game of cat and mouse, I went to another aisle and she followed me. I went back the other way and she followed me. To avoid causing a scene, I left the store, hoping to outrun her. Unfortunately though, I was not that lucky. As I left the store and was going down the block, I got that same feeling as before, so I turned around, and wouldn't you know it. There she was. What the crap is wrong with you lady? Why are you following me? Excuse me? I'm not following you. Okay then. Going in the opposite direction to call her bluff. Guess what? The lunatic followed me. I could hear her coming up close behind me so I stopped short, causing her to run straight into the back of my power chair. The sounds that followed were very satisfying, as she hit her knee hard into the bar that's at the back of my chair, hit her belly directly into a hook that's near the top, where a headrest can be placed, and almost fell butt over breast in an attempt to correct her balance. What is wrong with you? You could have killed me. That wouldn't have happened if you weren't following me. Now, what do you want? You insolent little get out of that wheelchair now. Before I call the police on you for assault. Really, lady? How about you take a look above your head? Pointing to the CCTV camera directly outside the store that I stopped in front of. That will show you following me, as will the one inside the store we were in before and the mall you followed me out of. Please Karen, call the police. I dare you. Better yet, how about I call the police and press charges on you for harassment? For this entire encounter, her son was trailing behind her with his tail between his legs, with a look of embarrassment and shame on his face for what his mother was doing. This picture is time-stamped with my location. If I ever see you again, you will leave me the heck alone, or I will show this to the police, who will be more than happy to review the cameras. Karen just stared at me like a deer caught in the headlights with her mouth doing a brilliant goldfish impression. I left to continue my shopping. I haven't seen her since then, but I hope she took my threat seriously. I didn't want to take things further because that would probably get docs involved, Australians' version of CPS. But if anything else happens, I'll be sure to post it. Thanks for reading. Why is she so obsessed with you? Karen is majorly creepy. I think I'd report it to the police just to have a record or paper trail with them, in case you have another run-in with her. This is getting ridiculous, with EMs and masks. So my grandma sews for a small hobby, and she made me, my sister, and my mother homemade masks with some fabric that she saved up for years. They were pretty cool, apparently so cool they became entitled parents magnets. So the cast, Cookie, I wonder who? Mom, my mother. EM, guess. EK, the most spoiled little crap on this planet. Story. So now that I'm 18, I'm applying for a checking and savings account. Which means I get a card, that plastic card that acts as cash. Not accurate, if you don't know what it is look it up or ask someone who does have one. So I was wearing the mask my grandma gave me, it has Pac-Man on it, which is cool. My mother was wearing her mask which has a solid light blue color scheme. So we went to the credit union and then we hear some little crap screaming and a mother screaming too, it was like this. What do you mean my baby can't get a checking account, he has enough money and he was an honor roll student for 3 years running. I want a credit card right now I get one because I'm perfect both were screaming at the same time. That poor employee was just a wreck, she couldn't get a word in and then that brat saw my Pac-Man mask. Crap hit the fan, again. I want that mask that he has fine then go get it while I report this employee. The witch told her little crap to come over and take my mask off of my face. So he tried, but it didn't happen, I was too tall for him to grab my mask. By the way now would be a good time to mention that the kid was about 5, maybe 6. So my question is, what the hell is a 5 or 6-year-old gonna do with a checking card? Then he tried to get my mask by jumping on me like I'm a freaking jungle gym, but he failed and the M turned her attention to me, great. You give my son that mask right now, he deserves it more he had on a roll for 3. Then my mom cut her off, I told her that people like this existed, but she didn't listen, now she does. Listen here. My mom has taught kids in high school for almost 10 years now, she has put up with some of the stupidest kids from her schools, and she doesn't put up with a lot of crap. My mother made these masks for us to keep you safe and you and your little hell spawn are going to leave us alone or I will call the police boo. I don't give a rat's butt about your kid getting on a roll, if he does then you reward him, don't pawn it off on others, it's your job to do that, not others. So if you want to reward him, then get your lazy butt up, get your money then go get him something she left and her little crap too, my mom was steaming after that. But she calmed down and we went to get my card and accounts, now I have a checking and saving account with a nice card to boot too. Nobody should even dare trying to steal something made by the owner's grandma. Things made by lovely grandmas are blessed and must be protected. And I'm really wondering why would 5-year-old need a card. For context, I have ADHD. I take legally prescribed medicine for it and if I forget to take it in the morning, I have a couple of doses in a pill bottle from an old fill in my car. It's important to take it daily as it works better the more days I take it in a row, similar to some antidepressants. Each fill costs about $60 or $70 and I keep about 1/4 of a fill in my emergency stash. So, it's the weekend and I have plans to meet some friends at a local coffee shop. We have masks, outside seating, and sanitizer at the ready. This so happens to be a day where I forgot to take my medicine. We order our drinks and snacks, and after I put our order down at the table, I tell my friends I need to go take my meds. I go to my car and grab the bottle to bring back as I left my drink with my buddies. I get back and as I pop the pill into my mouth and take a sip, a wild Karen appears. No haircut, but a 5 or 6-year-old kid in tow. She slaps the open pill bottle off of the table and starts screaming about how I shouldn't do medicine, yada yada. She demands I apologize to her son for being such a bad influence and doing such sinful things in public. I try to explain that they are not such medicine, but medicine for my ADHD. Then she phones the police. The police arrive and they get our stories. After getting witnesses, the police ask me for proof that these were my meds, which I provide. At this point Karen is starting to sweat. She realizes that she screwed up and is now trying to backtrack out of the situation. The police ask me if I would like to press charges as the meds in the bottle are now ruined. I say no, as I'm not about to spend court costs over $15. Karen is dealt with and we leave, one story to tell richer. I would have made her at least pay for a refill for such a behavior. I know a lot of doctors won't even renew a script of that type of medication without proof that it was destroyed. I hope you got a refill quick enough that it didn't cause side effects. And hope karma will get her. I used to work at the Big Orange hardware store as a loader way back in 2009. As this story occurred 11 years ago, some details are a bit blurry. I apologize in advance for this. Now for the story. An ED came by to order 20 bales of pine straw. He had his kid with him who didn't interact with us so he won't have dialogue in this story. ED only had a tiny compact car and there was only enough room inside for 5 bales max before it became unsafe to drive and maybe enough room for 10 if safety for his kid wasn't his concern. Here's what transpired. Me is me. ED is entitled dad. TL is team leader. M is manager. Your car is too small for these. No, it's not. You can fit them in there. Can we tie some to your roof? No. Fit them all in the trunk in my back seat. And don't get any loose straw in my car. It's impossible to fit though. Even if I played Tetris with them, I could probably only get 8 max, but then you wouldn't be able to see through your rear view. It's your job to figure it out. I hope you don't mind me asking, but do you live far from here? I'm about 5 minutes away. Okay, good. Would you be interested in renting one of our trucks to help in transporting these bales? They don't cost much, and since you're so close by it should be quite cheap. No, I don't want to pay any more than I already have. Are you sure you can't let us tie some bales to your roof? No, I don't want them falling off. Alright, I'll see what I can do. I contact our TL over the radio and tell her the situation and ask her to come out to the loading area. Sir, there's no way they can fit all 20 bales in your trunk and back seat. Are you sure you don't want some tied to your roof? Well, I don't want them falling off and I don't want the twine too tight to weaken the bales. Would you be interested in one of our trucks? That'll make it easier or you can come back with a van or truck of your own. I want them in my car. They won't all fit then. If you want to use your car, my loaders can fit whatever they can and you can come back to get the rest. You can make as many trips as you want. I guess that'll be okay. Okay, great. Looks at me and my loading partner, fit whatever you can and this gentleman will come back to get the rest. Alright, we'll do that. TL walks back into the store. Me and my loading partner grab some plastic sheets to lay down in his trunk, back seat, and floorboards. Wait a minute, what the hell is that you're putting in my car? Plastic sheets to keep loose straw from getting in your car. You can't do that. I don't want your trash in there. Sir, you said you didn't want loose straw, and this will prevent that. Can you get your supervisor again or something? I don't want your trash. Sir, all she is going to do is reiterate what I just said. If you don't want loose straw in your car, then I really suggest taking this plastic. Call that lady on your radio again. Get her out here. Alright. Calls for TL again and requests her to come back to the loading area. Sir, you said you don't want loose pine straw in your car, yes? That's right. And I don't understand why that means I have to take your trash with me. Sir, that's not trash. It's sheets of plastic that we have for the sole purpose of preventing spills in customers' vehicles. My loaders are only taking precautions so they can fulfill your request. First, you morons can't fit all my items in my car, and now you want me to take your trash with me, sir. As I've just said, that's not trash. And it's impossible to fit 20 bales in your car, and that's why we agreed you could take them in multiple trips. Please don't yell at me, because I'm just trying to help you. Do you have a supervisor or someone else I can talk to, because all of you are being useless? I can call the store manager for you if you'd like. Yes, I'd like to speak to your manager and have you and, points at me, and my loading partner. You're 2 moron workers fired for not being able to fulfill a simple request. TL calls the manager and asks him to come to the loading area. What's going on here? Sir, why are you yelling? ED explains the situation to M. Sir, if you don't want loose pine straw in your vehicle, then I definitely suggest you take the plastic. I don't want your freaking trash. Sir, can you follow me? Finally, someone is doing their job and helping me. M leads ED to the customer service desk and makes the clerk refund ED's order. Now you need to leave my store. What you mean you weren't giving me those bales for free? You were abusing my employees and used profanity at me. You will leave and you are banned from my store. Get out before I call the police. ED gets in his car and peels out of the parking lot. Could have been the perfect opportunity for some malicious compliance and just filled his entire car including driver's seat with the bales and said, there you go, it's all yours now. Without the plastic since he didn't want the trash. I have been wanting to enlist for the 75th Rangers ever since I've been 11 years old. It's my dream to don the tan beret and make my dad proud of me so that he'll have no reason to be disappointed in me. My mom, on the other hand, has been using me ever since I was old enough to draw. I have been drawing since I was 3 and I enjoy it. Keep that in mind because I'm going to tell you of all the things she's done. The first time I've ever been used by her was when I was 7. She tried to get me into modeling. I was a mix of Asian and Scottish, and she believed that if I were mixed, they would be more likely to take me. She mostly had this idea because she saw a French and Taiwanese couple make hundreds of thousands by putting their sons into modeling. Thankfully for me, I overslept for the photo shoot, which made my mom really angry and upset because she didn't get to claim the cash I would have made for her to buy another expensive handbag. An important thing here is that my mom and dad have been divorced for 2 years. And my dad has a girlfriend who's a Chicago police officer. She's really supportive of my ideas and hates my mom for her treatment of my father and the fact that she wants to defund the police, despite calling them constantly and even getting me a 6-month probation, and then adding another 6 months for lying to my probation officer, saying I traumatized my younger brother, which was me being upset to my younger sibling, damaging my belongings. And now the drawing. I am now 16 and I have a hell ton of sketches of various firearms. My mom took notice and started asking me if I wanted to start a t-shirt company to sell shirts. I told her that I was going to drop out and go live with my dad because he was going to help me with my GED so I could enlist. The things she said after that was just so down-putting. She called me weak and refused to talk to me for the rest of the day. She pestered me constantly and said that she'd pay me good money to do it, but because she never paid me my share for shoveling snow and claiming my money for savings over the years, I didn't want to do it. My mom is just really cheap, always going to Home Depot and asking every Hispanic man there if they work on landscaping, which lead to her not being allowed there anymore. I'm dropping out and doing what I want with my life. I'm not letting her exploit my talent and skills for her personal gain. I think you must remember one main thing. It's your life, not hers. You should do whatever makes you happy, not to make her happy. Make sure your dream is what you want, OP, and not just because it would make your dad proud. Well guys, that's it for today. If you end up enjoying this video, please consider subscribing, and if you missed the last episode on the channel, I'm gonna link it right here. The story is about a woman with children who wanted to ride snowmobile without permission and then caused a scene. Check this out if you haven't, and I'll see you in my next video.